Everyone, welcome. My name is Jennifer Blackert, and I am your host for Bliss Week, day number 2. And what's special about today is it is my birthday. So I am so excited to play and have a very fun birthday day with you guys and my audience and amazing speakers. And we had such an amazing day yesterday. If you haven't watched the replay, see if you can get them in before that 24-hour is up, or make sure you get your VIP pass so that you can have them for lifetime. Right now, it's just $47. That will go up on Friday. So make sure if you want it and you're enjoying these, go ahead and get your pass. Yesterday, I was so totally surrendered at the end of the day that I forgot to re-announce and thank some of the sponsors of this event. And one of the ones that I want to really make notice of is Soma Breath this week, which is some of the work that I do, and I will be sharing on Thursday when I introduce you to biology for no further ado of 3 other little tiny things, very short, and I will introduce our guest. So if something comes through you that inspires you, that excites you, I want you to write #nugget. Write what it was and #nugget. So we can not just share it with you, but also share it with everybody else so that they're aware that, here's some of the juiciness that is going on during the event. I also today really want to focus on claiming our magic and uncovering and unearthing whatever it takes to become realigned with what you're creating in the world. So if you get something where you feel more congruent, more embodied, more present, I want you to put a #magic by it. And lastly, I want to let you know about my contest going on. For those of you guys that are here live that do participate, when you use these hashtags, and the more you use them, you will be entered to win a ticket to my live event in Texas, on my island in Texas. It's January 18th and 19th, and you'll learn more about that towards the end of the week. I've got 2 calls that will go through it and really show you some of the basics of this work called biology and how we use breath and movement to really help you move into all of you. So let me introduce our guest today. And man, it was like energy sync, boom. I fell in love with her before it. I mean, she's growing this, empire on realigning to what you actually are. And I just felt like things were so in sync that I had to meet her and wanted to bring her on. So please welcome. Hold on. Here you go. 1, 2.
1 second.
Oh, there you are.
There you are. Okay.
Welcome. And, I wanted to really start with, how did you get on this topic of helping people get back into alignment and realigning?
It's interesting because I just began witnessing how clients coming through the door were really struggling with what I would say is our modern day epidemic, which is stress and busyness. So those combined together really wreaks havoc on our lives in so many ways. So it was really that common denominator that I was seeing with most of the clients that were ending up on my couch. And from there, just really honing in to and tapping into the mind and the body's innate capacity to heal. But it was what I was seeing in my clients.
Yeah. And when did you start? I know you've got like an app and you have events happening. Tell us a little bit about some of that experience that happens at your events. And then I want to dive into really talking about alignment.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, I have an app. It's called Wellzen, Welzen. It's in the App Store. And part of that intention was really to allow these practices to be accessible. So I have a team, and we have some amazing visionaries and developers on our team, but it's more of a mindfulness lifestyle app where whether you're dealing with grief and loss, anxiety, stress, whether you want to travel more consciously, there's a teaching, there are practices for you, so you can really curate your own mindfulness experience. And part of what I truly feel like is my dharmic calling is to hold sacred space for people. So I, guide multiple groups, spiritual growth groups. I teach mindfulness masterclasses. Some of my favorite work, though, is taking groups of people abroad, especially to Asia, to learn meditation and mindfulness in the lands in which they originated, which is so powerful. It's almost like that energy in itself becomes this alchemy, transforming all of the things that don't really serve us, our fear, our negative thought processes, our trauma. It's like this kind of travel form of therapy. So there's a lot of different parts to my work, and I just try to meet people where they're at, whether it's through the app or through a live event. But it's been so much fun, like such an honor to dive into this work with people.
Oh my gosh, isn't it
amazing?
Form in front of your eyes. So so can you take us through like some of the processes that you go through of really, I know that there's so many people that come to me that are, they seem like I want this, although it almost feels like in my energy that is a fantasy. Right? They aren't in alignment with their dreams, their goals. They aren't in alignment with who they are, mostly because of wounds and constructs of this reality. And it really seems as if, and I may be wrong, that you are really the gal to help people come back down to what's really real for them.
Yeah, I always say we can't heal what we're not aware of. So the work can get pretty deep, because what I encourage people to do through individual work, through group work, is to really turn toward what are some of the biggest barriers, what are some of the most deeply entrenched fears. And we're not just working in the landscape of like the 3D, the physical body, but we're working in the landscape of our energy field, and we are working in the landscape of the soul. So a lot of the work can touch on, past lives and these imprints that we carry. So it's all about cultivating self-awareness. And whether we're talking about meditation or psychotherapy, the intention is the same. We want to make whatever is unconscious conscious, so then we can begin working with it intentionally and begin creating a different way of being in the world. So it's very deep work. I always say it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the birds. It is very, very powerful. And it's self-led, which is really empowering that we have all this capacity within us.
Yeah. Can you take us through like maybe a couple different processes so that the audience can kind of get a feel for how, this awareness unearths?
Okay. Sure. So we'll just say when I'm working with an individual, for example, and they first come in, we just start with intention setting, what brought them in, what was the part of them that guided them into the space. And then we work with where they're at around that intention. So just say, and I'll just give you an example. I had a client come in a few weeks ago wanting to change her relationship with money. And she had a very kind of traumatic, maladaptive relationship with money. So because she wanted to grow a business, we needed to work with that second chakra dynamic. So when you set an intention, for example, then we are investigating how that dysfunction or how that imbalance manifests physically, emotionally, energetically and interpersonally. So we are doing a deep dive, kind of an excavation of how that maladaptive functioning is playing out in day-to-day life, and how it feels. So a lot of journaling, a lot of self-inquiry, a lot of questions, and it takes a lot of courage. So once we excavate what that is like, then I'll begin guiding them into some meditative inner practices where we're beginning to shift thoughts, and at the same time we're shifting our energy field too. So it's almost like energy medicine on yourself, if that makes sense. I lost your sound for a second, Jenith. Let's see. Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
Yesterday that happened. Yesterday that happened, and the thing showed that I was unmuted.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, is this going on again? But actually I had muted myself.
Oh.
Because I was typing in the stream and I was asking everyone, if you guys will participate, what brought you here today? And what else I was saying was actually in our work, in my work, specifically, we don't necessarily go through thoughts, feelings, and emotions, because all that changes when the energetic field changes around it.
Right.
So I just kind of, go straight for the source instead of, which you do as well, obviously.
Well,
I just want to re-announce it so that, those that think that they've got to change their thoughts when they're thinking, bad things about themselves or something, there are easier ways to go straight for the energy of where that initiated, or who does it belong to, and change it directly there, and just turn those molecules, then going back in every single thought you're like, because you can't get every single one.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think part of that message that we're seeing more frequently, like you must change your thoughts, it can create some overwhelm for people. So it can be freeing and liberating to know that there's a different way, and we can go straight to the energetic source.
Yeah. So we're getting in some of the why I'm here today. I also want to, ask you, because I'm just sensing I need to ask this question. If you're here today, but you feel checked out, would you be willing to really check back in and play and engage with us? I would love that. Thank you. Juliana said, I'm here today to learn and explore something new. Love that. Vera said, I love these types of events. Always so informative, filled with amazing individuals. Thanks for hosting and happy birthday. Thanks, Vera. And Roxy said, love being with minded people. Yeah. Well, there's a frequency with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's amazing when we can use technology to co-create that.
Oh my gosh. Isn't it cool?
It's like, I have chills even seeing all these amazing high vibrational messages here. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Some of the main topics yesterday were hormone, disrupting our lives, high cortisol levels, taking down the stress. We also talked a little bit about finances and the frequency of lack. And so could we do a little process on one of those topics?
Sure, absolutely. So what feels like it's percolating at the forefront?
Well, actually, I asked all those, and what really feels percolating is to do something where we're getting more in alignment with what we're creating next.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. That sounds fun to me.
Yeah. So when we are entering into the process of creation, it's so important to believe, really begin to embody the belief that whatever it is we're seeking to create is already happening, because it is. What we're doing is we're just tapping into that vein of potentiality that already exists. So in order to do that, we have to begin to truly embody the belief within this physical essence, within our emotions, within our cells. So, is there something that you feel like, Jeneth, you are seeking to create in your life that we can work with?
You know what I really am playing with is really creating more aligned friends. Friends creating this bigger life, this big ecstatic life with, it just seems that I'm, not finding a bunch of like great aligned friends lately.
So can we do an experiential exercise around that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So in order to drop in, so wherever you are, just find yourself in that comfortable seated position. You can keep your eyes open if you want, but it is going to be more inner, and more meditative. So drop your awareness into the lower belly and begin to really feel the breath filling the basin of your belly, and sense your belly softening and receiving the breath in this way. And begin to imagine a beautiful, radiant, orange light here in the lower belly. With each breath, this light becomes bright and vibrant, shining and shimmering all around the lower belly. And begin to breathe into that space, inviting this radiant golden light to expand, becoming brighter and more vibrant with each inhale. This is the energy center where we attract beings into our orbit. And so as you breathe into the belly, begin to feel a sense of connection with yourself. And then you allow your breath to fall into the center of the heart space. And allow yourself to connect with an experience where you sensed heartfelt connectedness, where you felt seen or heard by a friend, a tribe member. But you invite this memory to emerge within the heart. And we allow this memory to expand and take over our entire cellular body. The connection, the love we felt when this person saw us, said yes to us. They were present with us, with their heart, with their mind, with their soul. And just be in that space. You can allow the eyes to open if your eyes are closed. And we're beginning to create a new blueprint for our tribe, for who we're attracting. We're beginning to embrace that. And there's a lot of second chakra work we can do around when we felt wounded, when fear-based or primal energies were ignited, stories that we carry that we may or may not be conscious of. And those would be like more self-inquiry questions we would do in that meditative space. But it's important to connect with the memory of like feeling, heart-centered and in that space with someone who you love, who you felt seen by, in order to attract more of those tribe members into our orbit.
Loving this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it can be when I do this, I'm like crying. Like, it's just so, it speaks to the soul. We're meant to be in tribes that elevate one another, that see one another, that co-create, that celebrate. But instead, we live in a society of ego-driven energy where we are creating separation between groups of people, between individuals, between political parties. It's, everywhere. It's pervasive.
Mm-hmm.
So we not only do these practices for ourselves, we do them in service of humanity. Because when we let down the barriers of our heart and we open to the people meant to connect with us, then we are shifting the vibration of the universe. So it's both micro and macro work, but they're not separate.
Yes. Wow. It's funny because, it wouldn't have mattered what I did that on necessarily.
Right.
I realigned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that there's also, not so much in my world anymore, there's two parts to this. Sometimes I forget to ask and practice.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we, what's the word? Discard the value of what this actually can create.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that?
Say that one more time, Jenna.
Can you talk a little bit to that topic of us realigning with the value of what these kind of practices create?
Yes. Yes. So first we have to embrace the fact that there's so much in the manifest universe that we don't see. We are wired and conditioned to attach to what we can see. But for example, the energy of the heart. So we just literally went into the heart for a minute. I mean, it's very short, but the wisdom and the energy field of the heart is powerful beyond what your cognitive mind can even comprehend. So we have to begin to embrace the truth that there is a collective, powerful field that we can't necessarily, or most of us can't see, but that is indeed where our true, authentic power lies. And we have the ability to tap into that through meditation and through different energetic spiritual practices. So first and foremost, rewiring the brain and shifting into embracing the power of the unseen is vitally important if we do want to understand the power of these practices. And when we realign, so what does that even mean? Second, I would say, where can we shine awareness on the gap? When I say the gap, where is there space? Where is there misalignment between our intentions, our souls, our heart's deepest intentions for living, and our actions and how we're actually living out our day-to-day life? What is that misalignment? Where is that gap? Where are we not taking action to support our souls, our heart's intentions? And that gap is where we can begin to really work with, your life in a tangible way, and your energy and your heart in a tangible way. It takes a lot of courage, but we have to embrace the power of the unseen. We have to really understand that gap, and we have to be dedicated. We may not have a 45-minute sitting meditation practice every day, but what are our daily practices that bring us back home to ourselves? And we need that because our society is, getting perpetually busier by the moment. With technology, it's not slowing down.
I usually will address, where are you hiding?
Yes.
Where are you not showing up, right? Where are you not speaking your voice? Where are you not opening, to all of it. And you're like, embrace the unseen.
Yes.
One of the processes we do is unseen, unsaid, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies. Would you be willing to reawaken them now?
Mm-hmm.
And that made me think of that when you said that. So when you say that is that literally things we've hidden from ourselves?
Yes. So in order for our ego to keep itself in a state of comfort or the illusion of comfort, we repress and we deny parts of ourselves all of the time. And these really disowned parts, the shamans would call this, soul retrieval, right? But different ancient practitioners would call it different things. But essentially what we're doing is we're really owning those parts that have been disowned, by trauma, by fear, by conditioning. So absolutely, like, are you willing to see the unseen within yourself?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really like, are you willing to?
Mm-hmm.
So when we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and I want to ask you kind of a similar question. So when we have a trauma and we like stick it in a body part, how do you go about unearthing that so that they can see it and release it and fully express it and get it out of there?
Yep. So the way that I do that, the way that I work with people around that, is we want to begin to uncouple the energetic dynamic from the memory or the thought dynamic.
Okay.
So for example, I may take someone into a pose. It could be like Baddha Konasana or butterfly, or it could be corpse, or it could be even just hands over the heart, right? To connect with the heart space. So, and then I will just channel a series of self-inquiry questions in a very meditative state, and bring up some of those body sensations, those memories intentionally with that client, with that person. And then we begin to unravel the thoughts that are connected to the energies and the memories. And then there's kind of a series of statements and pieces of guidance that I would go into to help them uncouple the traumatic memory and the thought dynamic with the energy dynamic. That's playing out in the present moment, because that's what trauma is, right? So, and then like some of it can look like very cathartic release. Sometimes it's very overt and loud. Sometimes it's softer and gentler.
Right. It's the release that they need to have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you do Gestalt like work where they go out and they battle it, or
I love that work. I've done it myself. I do not do it, or I don't practice it with clients, but it definitely informs more the philosophical space. But I love the Gestalt work. It's intense and powerful.
Yeah. So it sounds like a lot of your practice has a lot of a yogic background.
It does. Yeah. It's all based in our capacity to be present. So I would say my experience growing up in a Buddhist home with a Buddhist mom was kind of the initial foundation.
Wow.
And I grew up like meditating and, going to temple and chanting with monks, and really experiencing Buddhism from a spiritual, cultural, familial place. And that was the foundation. And then on top of that, did some training in yin yoga and different, psychodynamic trainings. And so it's really just a convergence of what I've learned and what I have seen has been really effective for people.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting. I just wanted to tell you about some of the comments that I'm seeing. May says, thank you, Lena. It's actually, it's Tina, like Lena, like Tina, right?
Correct. Yeah.
For sharing your work. You have such a calming and healing energy, and excellent affirmation for today's workspace.
Thank you, May. Thank you. I received that.
Yeah. Gosh. Let's see what else we have. I loved yesterday was so brilliant. I'm here as a brighter, lighter today.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Yes. Cool. So I would like to play with just a few more processes. Can we do something with a group, like a group meditation?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes. So hold on, let me tap into, let's connect with the expansive heart. I'm really feeling like the love in this moment and the connection. So let's dive into a heart self-love meditation. So wherever you are, allow yourself. Yes, I see. I love that. Find yourself in that comfortable seated position and begin to drop in to the presence of your body. You can allow the eyes to close if that feels comfortable for you. And if not, you can keep your eyes downcast at your lap or the floor. Begin to feel the life force of your breath entering this temple of your body. The moment the air hits the tips of the nostrils, inflating the lungs in all directions. And then the gentle and cathartic release of the exhale. In this moment, we release all that has happened before this moment. We release everything that will happen after this moment. And we embrace the sacredness of the present moment, the only moment where life happens. Begin to breathe down into the base of the spine. As you inhale, we receive presence. As you exhale, we release fear. Inhale, receive peace. Exhale, release stress. Inhale, we receive wisdom. Exhale, we release busyness. Continue receiving what it is you need in your life with the inhale. And as you exhale, set your intention to let go of all that doesn't serve you. Maybe it's self-doubt. Maybe it's a story of not enoughness. Maybe it's an inner wound that still gets triggered. Continue breathing deeply and slowly into the base of the spine. This is your first chakra, the first energy center of the body. And as we strengthen this chakra, you may imagine a red, vibrant energy shimmering and shining around the base of the spine. Strengthening us, rooting us in this life as we become the still point in a turning world. We can indeed be the healers of our own energy in order to not only survive but thrive in this lifetime. Stay with that ruby red light shimmering and shining around the base of the spine. And now as you breathe, bring that red light up into the heart space. So you can imagine the ruby red light channeling up into the center of the heart, beginning to pool and gather. That ruby red light vibrates through every chamber of the heart, settling and gathering. And now bring your awareness into the crown of the head, inviting in beautiful, milky white silver light, universal chi coming through the crown. And beginning to also pool and gather in the center of your heart space as you integrate electromagnetic earth energy, that red vibrant energy, and that silvery white energy. And here we create the most radiant rose gold color, clearing away any dense energies, clearing away any constrictions of the heart. And we feel this rose gold emanating and vibrating through the entire heart space, moving down the arms, up into the skull, clearing the third eye, down into the belly, flowing down the legs to the soles of the feet. And eventually this rose gold energy flows into your energy field about 2 feet from the physical body, holding you, rejuvenating you, supporting you in your fullest expression, in your wholeness, in your goodness, in your power. Take a few more deep breaths to embrace this radiant rose gold energy as you cleanse each cell, as you embrace your own body's capacity, your own soul's capacity to heal itself. Living from the expansion and the wisdom of the heart. When we return to the heart, we return to our truth. On the next inhale, whenever your body is ready, you can come back into the space if your eyes are closed. Just feeling into the body, coming back into the sights of the room. Welcome back, everybody.
I want to hear a little bit about your next retreats that you're doing and what people experience, what they walk away with. And I know that you've got something that's very, very, very special that you put in the collective box. And I'd love to talk about that too.
Sure. So I am so grateful to be in partnership with a wellness travel company called Pravasa. And so we partner and create what we call mindfulness vacations. And so my next one coming up that's open for registration is Vietnam. And Vietnam is March 26th through April 5th. And this one's an incredibly sacred, special journey because we are going to my maternal homeland. So that's where my mom grew up. And we are taking people to South and Central Vietnam. And when people come on these journeys together with us, we have a mindfulness healing class in the morning. So I'll take you through an hour and a half workshop. And then the rest of the day is really curated to support your healing and your intentions. So we'll be going to off the beaten path temples. We'll be chanting with monks. We'll be exploring the Mekong Delta on this kind of private wooden cruise boat, very intimate and beautiful. We'll be eating a lot of plant-based, culturally rich and delicious food. So it's all about nurturing your mind, body, and spirit with like-minded conscious beings in an exploratory adventure travel scenario. So it's amazing. Yeah, the transformations that happen on these trips are incredible.
Is that a 7-day thing or a 3-day thing? Or
it's 10 days.
10 days. Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Gosh, that is a trip.
It is a trip. So it's March 26th through April 5th of next year.
Wow. How beautiful, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, how exciting.
It's going to be amazing. So this theme is Journey into Awakening. So it's continued spiritual, energetic awakening through these practices.
Nice.
Yeah.
I also want you to tell us what you put in our bliss box. Let me put up the little link to it.
Oh, nice. Great.
Because, here, you guys, here's the link to the collective box. And Lena offered something that I actually questioned and said, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to offer this?"
Right. No, I was so appreciative.
Yeah, and everybody that listen up.
Okay. So I have offered a one-on-one coaching package in the Bliss Box. And part of the intention around this is really that when we work one-on-one with someone, coaching you through the depth of energy work and spiritual practices, particularly from the East, because that's where my lineage is steeped in Buddhism, there's this alchemy that happens. And although, yes, there's a lot on my schedule and I teach and I see people individually, I felt just called to offer this individual coaching package. And what will happen is if you go for the package, you'll get 8 sessions with me, one-on-one virtually. And what we do is we do a deep dive into spiritual expansion. So there's, coursework in between, and I'll do some very specific laser coaching and guidance and channeling for you while we meet virtually. And usually I like to do that within 2 months. So it's a session a week with homework and practices in between. So I kind of hesitated at first because, obviously there's only so many hours in the day, but I do feel very called to continue this spiritual coaching work. And I coach people globally. So there's a handful of spots left on my calendar, and I'm just so grateful and excited to share it with you guys.
Fabulous. So if you get the box, that might be the first thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You look for the directions, you contact her, and we get it set up, okay? Wow, Juliana said, that was awesome. My third eye was vibrating in and out.
Love it.
A lot of stress. Thank you.
Good.
But I just journaled last night about focusing on healing at a cellular level. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I just have to say, we all are our own healers. We all are energy workers. We have the capacity to channel energy and to heal ourselves and to clear on this, quantum level. And so I just, any kind of questioning or self-doubt in the mind, work to release that old programming, that old paradigm, because it's so powerful. Even just a couple of minutes of practice can be transformative. So I can't say enough about that.
Yeah, there's a very big difference from questioning yourself and inquiring to question a new possibility.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you're tight on time, and gosh, your presence with us has been absolutely amazing. So if you do want to run, do you need to go?
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, I need to go in a few minutes. I want to thank you so much for creating this community and this offering. And you're right. I just have to echo, when I connect with people and there's that synergy. Jenith, you embody such pure intention. I felt it over the phone right away. So I just want to extend love and gratitude to you for all that you're creating in the world.
Thank you very much. I really adore this work, and I'm really excited to keep expanding it.
Awesome. Beautiful.
I have a little thing that we got yesterday, and I don't know what'll happen when I press this button, but it says celebrate. And I felt and it happened at the end of the day because of the amount of comments we got. So I'm going to press this button and it'll just be a celebration for my birthday too. Let's see if something happens. Oh, I get to share my achievement now. Let's see what happens if I share. Oh, how cool is that?
Love it.
Yesterday we had 246 comments. That is so awesome.
Amazing.
Can you all see this? This is exciting. This I thought was exciting. All right, thanks for being here for my celebration.
Happy birthday. So grateful you were born.
Thank you. I think I might have to play with you. I'm not sure
Yes.
what is next for me, but I think that I'm going to keep watching and playing. Oh, do you want to share your Instagram handle?
For sure. Good idea.
So I can type it in the box here.
Oh, yeah, good idea. I'm like, okay, great.
Because that's, it's quite inspiring. You have to look it up.
Let's see.
It's mindful. I think it's mindful _
Mindful, yes. Here we go. Public chat. It's mindful _ healer. Let's see. There we go.
While I'm at it, I'll share mine too if you guys aren't following and want to follow. It's so fun to play over there.
I know.
It's fun to play.
So wonderful.
It's fun to play this way on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I get in a wormhole over in it.
Yeah, I know. It's, and so I love cultivating community. And so if you connect with me, I'd love to connect with you if you have any questions. I'm pretty diligent about my DMs, and if you want any guidance or if you have questions about your practice, I'm happy to connect with you. So
fabulous. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you all. Namaste.
Namaste. All right, you guys, since we have just a few minutes here, I'm going to go ahead and remove you so you can get on with your life. I wanted to just thank you guys for just, this has been such an amazing event already, and we aren't even 2 days into it. So I want you to sprinkle and sprinkle it out into the world. Let your friends know. Let your friends know that they can come and join us on Facebook Live. And I'm going to put the link down here if you also want them to join us, so that they can actually get the email reminders. And we have messenger reminders too, if that's easier. And I would love for you guys to just open the doors and let anybody know about it. That would be absolutely fantastic, because I really feel we've started quite the bliss movement here, right? I mean, it's like there's this energy and there's this excitement, and if I had my phone near, we would do a dance party in celebration. I think we'll do that later today. My next guest is Megan Silito, and we will start that probably just right on top of the hour. I don't know if you are aware of her. Oh, yes, and the giveaways. I'll talk about that in a minute. Megan and I, gosh, we've done so many joint venture projects together, and one of them was called Whisper Mapping. And at the time, it was just this collaborative thing where we got together, and as women entrepreneurs, we wanted to really live our lives in this very organic way where we were like, whisper, 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 whisper. And I started to journal at that time, and I'd make like a little line down the right side of each journal. And as I went through life, if I would just kind of get a hit, like just some sort of intuitive hit, I'd go blue, I'd go cloud, right? It was just like all random. And then what ended up coming together from that was a really freaking cool brand. And it had these clouds and this light blue and, butterflies. And everything just came together from these little intuitive whispers. And when I was telling Megan about that, she's like, it's weird. You create very differently. And I do too. And I said, okay, well, maybe we should just get on these phone conversations and talk about it. And she hired me as a coach. And I started to kind of open the door for her to experience like this different way of how I was creating my business and really what's become my life and my lifestyle. And just doing this out of like this like nudge and these plays. And she then came aboard, and my gosh, her whole world has changed. And I hope she'll share some of it. But now she just continues to travel the globe, experiencing work and classes and creating these online movements, these live movements. Her work's now called Live Your Magic. And you are in for a really big treat. So if you can hang on another hour, you are going to love this girl. And I'll re-endorse her when we get over there. I'm really excited that she said yes. Just amazing. And talk about having, people in your life that just always are the gift, or you are in this constant contribution of gifting and receiving constantly from them. She is definitely one of them. So I want to remind you also, if you share like nuggets that you have on these calls, ahas, awakening, or anything that's magic, and you use the appropriate hashtag, you don't have to use the appropriate one, but hashtag it with hashtag nugget or hashtag magic. And we are going to be giving away 2 tickets to my live event in Texas. It's right off the coast on an island. You have to even ride a ferry over, but it's really, really quiet there because there's not all this like city noise. So I love doing it out there. I only invite 30. I do it twice a year. This course is called Biology. I also have a higher level course called Visioneering. And if you would like to be a part of that or those classes, then play. And you can also buy a ticket, of course. We'll give you details after this week on how you can get a ticket to Biology for creatives and coming up. You have to take Biology before you can take Visioneering, unless you work with me privately, and then in which case I give you other possibilities. But that's happening. Hi, May. I read your comment silently above. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you got to hear me on Danielle's show. Danielle was one of my clients for a little while too. When she's bloomed, and you probably saw it blooming, which is amazing. What's great, so my house is about 50 yards from the beach. And that beach out there, the sand is so fine that it just literally melts under your feet. And they actually do this event called Sandfest out there where people come on a regular basis and create these massive sand castles, and it is like extraordinary. It's so much that, we can up our house out there on Airbnb by about $200 a night because it is such an extraordinary event. So May asks, if everyone is a word, I just feel like yours is joy. It's funny because and you'll hear this later, but I used to be incredibly depressed. In my late 20s, I went through like this massive depressive crash and burn. And it's been years seeking to be my joy, and really live this life with just flow and ease. And I'm really, really grateful to have this today because, this work lights me up and my life lights me up. But there's lots of, things that I just travel. I went to this event last weekend in Long Beach, and I wasn't so jazzed by the event, but I had a friend there, and we ended up ditching the event and going. Everything went wrong. Like my dress, have you ever had a dress really let you down? Well, this dress so let me down. And I had this little white jacket that I just bought over it. And as soon as it came out, it totally let me down. It started bleeding colors all over my white jacket, to the extent that I was bleeding onto my friend these orange colors. And, all we were like, how does it get any better than this? And it was funny because you hit these moments in your life and you're like, well, all I can hope is that I can take some really good shout out and my jacket will come back to life, and I will throw out this dress as soon as I can change. And we did. I literally threw out the dress and went from there. So pretty awesome. All right. We have another 3 minutes before Megan comes on, and I believe Dawn isn't on until the next hour. I will check though, because I'm on Central Time and I share everything on Eastern. So let me check. All right. So I guess we'll take a short 3-minute break, and then we will come back in just a minute. So take a breath, get some water, pee, and everything else you do. And I will be back on in about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Bye, everyone, for now.